folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Today's video, I honestly didn't want to make this video because I've talked about it in the last couple of videos, and I don't want to seem like I'm, beating a dead horse kind of thing, but a lot of things are transpiring and it's moving fast, and it's in regards to, well, what's going over in Eastern Europe. And so against what I really wanted to talk about today, I think this is very important. I know some of you are already kind of, glazing over. Oh, it's just more, silly stuff going on between, Russia and Ukraine and us. Well, I think there's a lot going on there. And I think that we have a government and a person in charge of that government that is trying to prove himself and get us into a war. And that's not a good thing. And that's something that, with everything else that's going on in the world today, and especially here back home, we should be a little bit concerned with and kind of be on our toes with. So I want to talk about that today, and a lot of the stuff that's transpired just this morning. Like, this isn't stuff that's just, regurgitating what's been going on for days now. This is new information. Before I get started with that, a couple of things I want to mention. We're having our local meeting this coming weekend, January 30th. We are located in the central Missouri Ozarks. The meeting itself is going to be held in Texas County. If you are around and you'd like to go, please shoot me an email and I'll give you some more details. For the rest of you that are, normally attend, certainly don't miss this one. I think it's we've got a lot of work to do. This year, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and our focus with the meeting is to really kind of figure out how we're going to function as a community, as a greater community throughout the Ozarks, and with people in other areas, building, networks and bartering networks, communication networks, things like that. It's becoming more and more critical for us to do that, and that's really going to be a big focus in this meeting. So certainly try to attend if you're able to. Also, when it comes to communicating online, as there seems to be a lot of buzz here lately about alternatives to the big tech social media networks. There's been some that's risen up out of nowhere, and rumors of new ones on the way. But I wanted to mention to you that we have our own social media network right here at the Prepared Homestead, and you can join that. It's free to use. We don't try to sell you anything, and we don't sell your information and collect your information. It is a free speech platform that myself and a company that I've contracted with has developed, and you're more than welcome to get on there. There's over 2,000 people on it, and there's a lot of good information. You can set up subgroups and announce events, and it functions a lot like Facebook. It really does. So you're welcome to get on there. There should be the website address. It's TPH Networks. TPH is the Prepared Homestead. That's what that stands for. And you can go there and sign up for membership and get right into communicating with others of like mind. There's a lot of cool features on it. I mean, it's nowhere near as elaborate as Facebook or some of these others, but it's a free platform. There's no charge to it. I absorb all the costs to it. That way it just eliminates dealing with advertisers and charging fees and all that kind of stuff. So you can certainly get on there, and there is an app for it that you can download, and it works pretty well. You can do little chats, group chats, private chats, and all kinds of stuff. Post things, and it's just, you can use it like you would use Facebook or something like that. You can just get on there and just talk about whatever. It's free speech. I do restrict people that get on there and may just want to say violent and aggressive and just vulgar things. But other than that, you can get on there and talk about pretty much what you want. So that's tphnetwork.com. You can go ahead and sign up if you'd like and join in the big party. All right. So I did a video on this last night. And like I said, I didn't want to do another one, just sometimes. I know how some of you think. I think the same thing when I'm watching these videos, that, well, he's talking about the same stuff again. He's trying to milk this one out for every view he can get. That's not it, folks, because I really didn't want to talk about this today. I had mentioned yesterday that there was rumors that the Biden administration was considering putting together the paperwork and the plans and everything to send troops over into Ukraine, into the Eastern Europe. Now, that was just where I left it last night. As of this morning, word got out that the plan that they're putting together encompasses around 50,000 troops being sent over to Eastern Europe and into Ukraine to kind of protect that border from the Russians. It's funny because we've been told up till now that there was no intent of sending actual ground troops in there, but now they're talking about 50,000 troops. And since that, this morning, that has been updated, that they have now put on alert 8,500 troops. 8,500 troops. We don't know, at least as of the making this video, what troops they are. But there have been 8,500 troops put on alert to ready to go at a moment's notice. There's a carrier group that's been moved into place over there in the Mediterranean. There's other countries that are moving ships and planes into that area, and a lot of NATO. NATO is bragging about it on their Twitter page, and it just seems like that the tensions is certainly growing. But there's something else that a lot of Americans may not realize, and this is strange. The Ukrainians don't seem to really want us there. I mean, we're supposed to be there to kind of protect them, but they don't really want us there, at least not in this capacity. The leadership in Ukraine has stated that they're very upset of all of this talk of sending troops over, this order to evacuate American civilians out of Ukraine, because they say it's dramatic. It's not that big of a deal, that they've got it under control, and that even though the Russians are building up their troops on the border, I saw one statement out of Ukraine said, well, they've been doing that for a year now, that this is no different than what's been going on for a year. And they seem to be upset that the American government and the Biden administration is really pushing for war instead of pushing for some type of peaceful, solution to this. France has announced that they've got a meeting scheduled between the leadership, or at least representatives of the Ukrainian government and the Russian government, meeting in Paris, and they feel that they have a solution to all this. But nonetheless, the Biden administration is pushing forward on getting troops over there. There's lots of, it's interesting because I was following it, not a lot because I've been busy this morning, but while I was following it online, it just seems like there's a lot of little things that are being let out. There was this one that spy planes, U.S. spy planes, are now searching along the Ukrainian border and looking into Russia, looking for potential placement of nuclear armaments along the border there, which is quite interesting, because if it's a spy plane, then I would think that that's pretty secretive that they're doing that, is sending a spy plane over to look for potential movement and placement of nuclear armaments along the Ukrainian-Russian border. So how is this getting out? I mean, either there's someone in the United States military and government that is criminally leaking this information, or it was done on purpose. So it shows that they're trying to, I think they're trying to create an excuse to go forward with this. We're seeing more talks between Russia and Cuba in regards to possibly Russia moving military equipment into Cuba. And we're just seeing this build and build and build. I'm not making a prediction, okay? But I would not be surprised in the next coming days if we don't see some type of false flag event that could propel this stalemate conflict right now into some type of heated battle. Because if in fact certain governments like France is trying to come up with a peaceful solution, and the Ukrainians are kind of indicating that they really don't want American military there, the U.S. government and the Biden administration has to come up with a really solid reason to get us there and to get us involved. So don't be too surprised if we see something like that in the coming days. It's very interesting because, like I've said in previous videos, there's not really any vested interest of us, being there. There's nothing that we really need out of Ukraine, okay? It's not like the Middle East where they're filled with oil or anything like that. I suspect this is part of the reason. The Biden administration basically showed the whole world that their incapabilities in Afghanistan. They're not capable of maintaining any kind of order or maintaining what they had told that they would do, and so they kind of lost face there. And so right now we have Ukraine that we have committed to protecting from Russia. And then we also have Taiwan that we've committed to protecting from China. And while Ukraine isn't really any kind of, well, there's nothing there that we really need. Taiwan is different. In Taiwan we do. Taiwan is a very strategic location, and so I suspect they don't want to make China think that they're going to back out that we would back out on Taiwan by showing that we back out on Ukraine. So I think that's part of it. I think also a big part of it is the fact that we have a sitting president that has one of the lowest approval ratings in any modern times. We also have a sitting president that a growing number of people, including left and right, that think that he's just not mentally capable of doing the job and that he's weak. We have an economy that's failing, and we also have a narrative surrounding the big health crisis that seems to be crumbling around them. And here in the next week or two, we're already seeing cases start to really drop off. And I'd say here in the next week or two, it's going to just be fizzling out while they're out there trying to push this narrative, and people are starting to wake up. I watched a video. I'm not going to put it on here because I think it's one I would get in trouble, so you just have to take my word for it. I think it was the Bill Maher show. You can probably look it up and find it. And he had this woman on there that she openly admits she's a flaming liberal. And she said she's even awakened that this whole health crisis stuff is basically nothing more than just a criminal act being put upon the American people. And she said her friends are waking up and they're realizing that. And so they've got to do something to shift the narrative and to shift the Americans' attention away from that. And what better way to do that and help the economy and potentially, possibly, help bolster opinion ratings of the president than a war with Russia. And even if there's not a direct war with Russia, we could certainly see a proxy war, which that's exactly what this looks like. I mean, you've got a country here that no one really wants, no one wants to deal with. Their country is just a big mess. They're considered one of the most corrupt countries on the planet, and they're certainly one of the poorest in Europe. And yet we have the United States government stepping in and claiming that we need to be there, even though a lot of people say that we don't, and trying to seemingly start some type of conflict. So again, don't be surprised if we don't see like a Gulf of Tonkin happen somewhere in and around Ukraine. There was also, I saw that, and I think this is just part of it setting up the narrative. The United States government announced today that they believed that Russia was planning some type of cyber attack on America. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on, and it's almost like it's a very poorly written narrative, because to me it wouldn't take too much of a person to kind of read through the lines and see what's actually going on. Unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in, and we have a lot of American people that they're so glazed over and blinded that they'll just believe whatever they're told. For you and I, we need to just keep preparing. If we end up in a war with Russia, it's not going to go good, folks. It's not. I mean, this also could, and I know a lot of you are going to say this because you probably, you're onto something. It's starting to look very biblical. Let's just put it that way. This isn't going to be an easy one. This isn't going to go so well if we end up in a full conflict with Russia, because I'm assuming it's going to very quickly become a global war. There's already news talking about us in Iran. There's obviously China and Taiwan and us. North Korea, they're still trying to stay relevant by shooting missiles into the sea. And it just seems like that there's this rapid building up. And if you know your history, this kind of stuff happens. And so it's like we're watching history repeat itself. Folks, get your houses in order. If you're able to come to this meeting, please do so. I think it'd be beneficial to you. That TPH network, it's a good place to kind of, you know, get ideas rattled around in your head and make connections, because that's what we've got to start doing. We've got to do that because we don't know how much time we have left before it just becomes very difficult or even criminal to do these sorts of things. So get your houses in order, prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.